That's amazing. Oh my God. Welcome back to John Velvet's Shed. Today, 826 days after I started working on this car, something very special happened. So in this episode, I'm going to go back and show you everything I've done since the last episode. A bunch of it's wiring, which I didn't really want to be telling people how to do, just purely because I'm not an automotive electrician. I will get it checked, all right, when I get it mod plated. But I will show you what I've done, which is good, and a few of the other little things here and there that I've had to do, well, in order for today. Right, so I figured I'd start in the middle of the engine bay, right up the back with this little install. So this is a oil catch can. So those two tubes are just coming from the heads on either side, or the rocker covers from either sides, and they are just meeting in the middle. I'm not draining it back at the minute. This is a new build, so it really shouldn't be vaporizing too much oil and getting blow by, but who knows. We've got this here and we can tell, and I do have the attachments to pump it back in if need be. Up to a lovely AN push lock fitting all the way around here. Right. And into the custom made pod filter. So any extra vapors going back into the system, yay, green me. So I've added in a pod filter here. I just had a straight piece of alley. I did some pipe cuts and then welded them up. You can see it's not the best in the world, but you know, what can you do? Turbo's all mounted, and we have the coolant lines running to it. Dizzy's on, timed up. We've got pulleys, timing, oh well, not timing, but all the pulleys are needed, and all the vac lines as well. Fueling system wise, I have installed a fuel pressure sender. Okay, and I'll show you inside the cabin what that looks like, but that comes straight off in line after the return style fuel pressure regulator. Okay, this is boost referenced. Right here used to be where the battery used to stay. I've moved it so I've got some space, but because of that I've had to run another power to this fuse box, okay, which is coming off the back of the starter motor. Okay, and I've had to do just some other little bits of wiring here and there, grounding a few things out. This is the main point at which the power comes in from the battery, which I've now put in the boot. Okay, so I'll take you down the back to have a look in a minute, but you can see that 2BS or 2 battery cable at the bottom, the thickest one, that's running through the cabin now and into the boot. And then from that is a 4BS coming around to the back of the alternator. Okay, that's grounded out once again, and I've also grounded out from the head just to be safe. Now I've run a bolt into the chassis rail in the engine bay and the boot, all right, which will account for my ground. So if I need any ground points, that's a pretty decent attachment point. If you excuse the mess for spare parts, I've just made up this battery tray, which is now bolted into the boot, and it's using just the OEM tie down, so that's excellent. So I've just used that. What I've had to run here is the power from the battery, the ground, which goes into a bolt underneath here. All right, bolt you can see down there. All right, that's our ground. I've run the signal and the power for the fuel pump from out the back here. So what's done is a signal comes through the cab out to the back, which is the OEM signal. That's what used to power the old fuel pump. It goes into a relay, okay, and grounds out. So when that goes through, that is when I get power, which is harvested directly, which is this smaller line here, this 30 amp line, with a fuse, with a 20 amp fuse in line. That goes into the relay as well and exits the relay with the green wire, and that goes down the bottom. All right, we can see it exit there, and it goes along down to the fuel pump, which is up there. what we're looking at here is the the oil pressure sender, which is this unit here, which isn't working at the minute. I'm gonna have to try and figure out why that's the case. And next to it is something called a hob switch. All right, that is almost like a solenoid. It's running in the oil line, and when the oil pressure reaches 5 psi, it allows electricity to flow from one side to the other. Okay, now what that is in series here with the OEM power source to the fuel pump. So the reason I've done that is because if I didn't do it and I was in a car accident and the ignition was still on, it would continually run. All right, not that you can tell, but underneath this trim line is where the battery cable and the other wires run, all the way at the back into the boot. And you can see them coming out there, just that OEM hole that was there all along. They got used for wiring previously. As far as in the cabin goes, I did take a whole bunch of stuff apart, this inclusive, and you'll see that I have made a little holder for the gauges. So I really don't like the look of loose gauges or just them tacked onto your dash, because I think it looks a bit bogan. So I made the little holder and then I upholstered it very roughly, so don't look at the corners too much. And that has just been put in there. So they're all wired up, and I've basically hidden the wiring. You can see some sneaky bits there, but no one's going to be looking. And, I don't know if it's going to do it now. Oh, isn't that pretty? Isn't that pretty? So I think I found the problem. I didn't connect the distributor to the ignition coil. I was on the phone chatting, only had the positive terminal connected. So let's see how we go. That's just about everything I've got for this episode. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a comment, like it, whatever you want to do. Tell your mum. Apart from that, next episode, I've got to adjust the rocket arms. I thought I did it properly, but they're causing quite a lot of noise. It's an annoying job, so we'll see how we go with that, but that should hopefully quieten everything down. And put a choke cable in, and maybe wire 1 or 2 little sensors up, heat sensors, or coolant sensors, should I say. Then, off to dyno, hopefully, knowing that everything's working just fine, and I don't get rod knock. It's terrifying me.